off my heater so it's not.
Okay, everybody, hello and welcome to this episode of Design Time. Dawn and I are here, and we're going to spend some time today talking about the Retention Center and what that is and how it works in Blackboard. And excuse me one second while I move something out of the way there. There we go. So you should be seeing on my screen here, you should be seeing our demonstration course. So basically what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about what the Retention Center is in Blackboard, how you access it, where it's located, and what are some of the things that the Retention Center can do for you, particularly at the beginning of the semester. And that's the reason that we wanted to do this topic today as we begin spring semester of 2016. The Retention Center has some particular functionality for the beginning of the semester that I think you'll find is useful for you. So just real quickly, let me tell you a little bit about what the Retention Center does. It's basically a quick way to check on which students are at risk in your course. It gives you a really quick one-stop place to get a snapshot of students that might be struggling in your course. And the way it does that is it has a set of pre-configured rules, which you can also customize, that measure students' engagements and activity in your course, and that's visually displayed on a dashboard that shows you which students are struggling and in what areas, whether it's grades or access to the course or activity in the course. And then also you can communicate with your students who might be struggling from the Retention Center and keep a record of those communications. But to me, that's one of the best features of the Retention Center is that you have that record, because I know in the past I've communicated with students and then, you know, time passes and you forget what you told them or where you left things, and you can easily keep a record of all your communications with students that might be at risk in your course in the Retention Center, and that's really helpful. It doesn't require any setup. It's immediately available, and it's a real value-add tool that became available with the last upgrade in Blackboard. So without further ado, Dawn, you want to talk a little bit about, and I need to give you control, I guess. So.
Yeah, let's find where this Retention Center is. There's two ways you can access your Retention Center in your class. And the first and probably easiest way would be once you're in the course, you go down to the control panel. Carolyn, I don't think it's working for me.
It's not. If I give you control, it's going to stop sharing. So why don't I drive while you talk?
You drive, I'll talk.
Okay.
Okay, so what you can do is go into your control panel, click on the evaluation area, and you should see the Retention Center listed under Performance Dashboard. The second place to get to the Retention Center is, and this is a quick look at it, but don't look yet, we're coming back to it, is up here near your name. When you're logged into Blackboard, your name pops up here with a bunch of alerts, and I don't know if you've paid attention to them, but some of those alerts have to do with your Retention Center. And it's right in the middle of that menu on the left-hand side is an up and down arrow, and that is your Retention Center. What this view of the Retention Center does is it gives you a dashboard look of all of your courses and the breakdown of students that are at risk in all of your courses. So if you're teaching 3 courses this semester, it should show you those 3 active courses and those students within them that are at risk. However, because it's bunching them together, it's not course specific. And that's why I kind of encourage you to go to your control panel within your course to look at your dashboard and your Retention Center, just because it keeps it all focused in that course, so you know exactly what you're looking at.
Right. So, and you can, just one other thing, you can jump from course to course over here in this menu over here to see specifics about those courses' Retention Center. So
that's true.
Yeah.
So let's go back into the class, and one thing I want to show you is it should be, and I say should, immediately available in your course. If you go to the control panel and go under the evaluation section and do not see a link for the Retention Center, Don't worry. All that means is sometimes with the courses when they're ordered and built, not all the tools are turned on. We don't know why, but it just happens sometimes. So all you need to do is turn on your tool. And the way you do that is under
customization.
Customization, tool availability. You'll click in here and you'll see 5 million tools. And you'll scroll all the way down, thankfully they're in alphabetical order, to the retention center. And you just need to make sure that that little checkbox is checked, and then that will turn on your tool. So if you don't see it under your control panel, tool availability under customization, check it, hit submit, and then you'll have the tool. So let's move into the actual retention center. And Carolyn will start giving you a bit of a tour of what you're looking at here.
Right. So when you first get in to Retention Center, the first thing you'll see is a total of students who are at risk. So this red line up here is all your students who are at risk. And what's nice about the Retention Center is you can drill down to get more data and more detail by clicking on just about anything. So if I click on this red bar, then it starts to break down for me in what way those students are at risk. So you can see that I've got 7 students that have missed deadlines and 7 students did not log in. So I've got, you know, a whale of a class here. They're doing really well. They haven't even showed up. So, but this breaks it down by color and by type of alert, what's happening with each student. So, and then from there, you can, again, you can drill down. You can click on any of these data points to find out more about that particular student or about that particular alert that's being triggered for that student. So if I, for instance, if I click on Chris's name here, then I'm going to get all the information, all the alerts that are being triggered for Chris, and I can see more details about those. I can see exactly, you know, what I can see exactly what triggers he's firing based on his activity in the course. I can see right away he's an at-risk student, so he's got this little icon up here, little symbol up here, right? So I can drill down into his specific all the triggers that he's firing, or I can back up, and that's one thing that's different about the Retention Center. Very often in Blackboard, you'll see down here in this area a little OK, and you can return and go back a screen by clicking that OK. You can't do that in the Retention Center. You have to use the breadcrumb trail up here. So I'm going to back up, and instead of clicking on Chris's name, I'm just going to click on missed deadlines, and that's just going to expand this particular alert to tell me, you know, what he's missed a deadline, and then I can click and see which submissions he's missed. He's missed, he hasn't done it for 133 days. He's missed the Module 1 discussion. And then from any of these places, and you may have noticed this when I clicked on his name, I can do a couple of things. I can choose to monitor him. So if I choose that, that's going to put him over here on this sidebar, so I can pull him out and specifically keep track of his progress. So if there's a student that you know you need to work with or you need to intervene with, or who is continually struggling in your course and you want to make sure you keep an eye on, you can monitor them separately out to the side, and that helps you kind of quickly pull them out or keep track of how they're doing. The other thing that you can do is you can notify this student. So I can choose to notify the student or observers in the class. Now this has implications for, like, say, advisors. Oftentimes, like particularly with athletics, there will be a student advisor assigned to that student, and they may need to have access to the student's progress in the course. They may want that, and as long as that's been worked out between you and the student and the advisor, and that's all been okayed, then they can be included in these notifications. You can let them know how this student is doing, and they can see your communications with the student. I'm just going to click Student, and what happens is you get this text box field. You can copy other people. You can blind copy other people. It has some canned text here that you can start with. You can obviously erase that and write something else. You can attach a file if you want to attach, you know, a separate, maybe you keep your grades in an Excel spreadsheet and you want to send a copy of that student's grades, or maybe a particular assignment they didn't do well on and you're contacting them about. The other thing you can do, since you have the text box here, you have all the capabilities of the text box editor at your disposal. So if you want, you could even, oh, you know what? You can't do that. I forgot. You can't do a video message. For some reason, the mashup tool is not available here. I was going to say you could do a Kaltura video to the student, but you can't do that. But you can write to them, and then I'm going to go ahead and submit this. So Chris is going to get an email from me in a minute. And what's cool about that is now I can, when I see Chris's information, I've got a record here of my notifications to him. So, and I can even choose to add a note of my own that doesn't go to him. So I can say, you know, Chris came to my office hours and we talked about his progress. And now I've got this record of that.
The notes are really good for things that happen outside of your course.
Exactly.
So, if you just want to keep track of what's happening so that you always have a record of it, it's really helpful.
Right, right. So, so then I can back up and go back to the retention center at large. So that's kind of the overview of what you see when you get to the retention center, and how you can use it to both track students and notify students. And then, you know, you can pull students out to be monitored. Dawn, I think you were going to talk about the monitoring panel. I may have kind of stepped on that for you.
That's okay. I think we've got about just a few minutes left, so I think what might be best to do is to talk about these rules specifically and what they mean. So what you see here on this main panel is a missed deadlines rule. These are the default ones. You cannot touch it at all, or you can drill in and customize it. Grade alerts. Now the grade alerts are nice because if you just want to monitor, say, a midterm, say I just want to know how many of my students scored below a 70, say, you can customize a rule that will then show up in your grade alert and alert you when you have a student that's gotten under a 70. So maybe then you can just notify or talk to just those students. You don't have to go through your grade center and scroll through all of those columns. It'll alert you here. Activity alert is that 7 students that haven't logged on yet. That's the part that's really crucial for the first beginning of the class. You know, you want to make sure people are getting into your class. You want to make sure that they're doing what they need to do. And if you see that they haven't logged on, you can then alert them, contact them, say, hey, what's going on? Do you know you have a class that you need to be attending? And then access alert, you know what, I take that back. Access alert is what I just said as far as logging on. Activity alert can be how long it's been since they have had activity in the course, or how they've specifically worked on different modules and assignments. So let's quickly customize a grade alert, because I think that would be the most likely alert that you might want to do. So what you would do here is, if you saw up in the right-hand corner, Carolyn clicked on Customize. In here, you will create rule on the left, and let's do a grade rule. And so it's going to ask you some questions. First, name it. So let's name this midterm. So I'm interested in monitoring my midterm exam. Do I want to include it in the risk table? Yes. What that means is you should get a symbol that pops up in the risk table when it's activated. Monitor a final grade or monitor a specific item. Because we're concerned about the midterm, we're going to monitor a specific item. And then what you do is you'll get a drop-down list of all of the items and assignments in your class. this is a demonstration course. It doesn't have a midterm in it, so I apologize for that example. We'll just do assignment 1 for now, but know that if this is a midterm exam, that you would select the actual midterm exam here. And then set the grade value. So what I'm interested is, I want an alert when the grade is below, and you can do points or percentage here, it depends on how you have your course set up. We're going to do 70%. You change it to percent. And then you hit submit. And then any student that gets below a 70%, there will be an alert on your retention center so that you can monitor that student. So you can see how the retention center, as it's set up and out of the box, can be extremely helpful. How you can drill down, that's probably my favorite part, is anything that you see is almost everything is clickable. In that, you know, on the bar, if you click on the 7, it'll give you a list of the names of the 7. If you, oh, and you can see we have a grade alert now that we created that rule. And Carolyn here did very poorly on her assignment 1 and about Harry's family, which is just disappointing because, you know, she knows a lot about Harry Potter. She should not get this wrong. So you can choose to, like, Carolyn, to monitor her, notify her, and keep those notes. But everything here is clickable. So you can click on that number 1, and it tells you right here what it was, what that assignment was that had the grade alert. You can click on all these red dots. Over on the right, if you're monitoring Carolyn or seeing it now, it tells you it's Carolyn that's meeting the rule that you set, that you need to contact her. On the right, where you see the monitoring of Carolyn and Chris, that little number 1, missed deadline, it's a link. You can click to it. It can quickly show you what you need to know. Or you can drill completely in and click on their name and get that full dashboard of everybody. So that's what I really like about it. The other quick thing that I want to show you is there's all this information on the top of this dashboard about your students. But on the bottom, there's this area called Your Course Activity. So this is kind of nice too, just for checks and balances for yourself. You can see what assessment is coming up or pending, how much activity and collaboration is in the discussion boards and blogs, and it'll tell you when you have stuff to grade. So you can use this too as a what do I need to do right now kind of support. Right. So out of the box, it gives you a lot of information, but if you spend a couple minutes at the beginning of your course or maybe the day before to set up a couple alerts for yourself, because you know going forward I want to see this, or mid-semester, you know what, I need to monitor some stuff, so let me see these areas that really need my attention, and you can create a rule for those. So it's really robust, and a lot of people don't know about it, and it has a really good opportunity to support communication and retention in your class. So that's why we wanted to bring it to you today and talk through all of these things.
So we don't have anyone joining us today, so that'll wrap up this episode of Design Time. We will, well, if you're watching this, obviously you know it's been recorded because there's no one here to see it, so you're watching the recording. So we just talk in circles around that. So next month, you know what, I don't remember what we're doing next month, but we'll be here. But
we'll tell you.
We'll tell you. But that'll be February 3rd at 10:30. That's when we'll be back. So.
And it'll be a surprise what we talk about now. We'll send out a message. If you get into the retention center and you get stuck, always know to contact us. And new this year, remember to use CETIS help at uc.edu to contact us. We've merged our emails, so for support from all of CETIS, it's one email. So if you could email us, we'll be happy to help you get it set up or walk you through what this looks like. And we hope you find it useful. It's a pretty cool tool.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much for joining us today, and we'll see you next month on Design Time. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.